Rabbah. Thank you so much, Rabbi Mark. Let's take a breath together, friends. I want to invite you to close your eyes and to take a deep breath in and a generous breath out. And if for any reason closing your eyes doesn't feel comfortable, just gently gazing down at the floor or maybe at your hands, kind of disengaging from the screen for a moment and turning back within, trusting that you can feel the co-presence of all of us, not with your eyes, but really from your heart, from the energy of our shared presence. Let's take a moment just to welcome that, to feel into that. A couple of breaths of landing, to land in the space of practice today. You can even do a sigh, inviting the whole system to kind of really, really relax in this moment. And what happens when we drop everything else? Everything else is aside for now. There is nothing we need to attend, nowhere to go, no double tasking, nothing to do, just to be. And maybe if suddenly you bring really all of your really presence to this next breath, to this next breath in and next breath out. Maybe for the first time of the day, breathing with mindfulness. Slowing down. Sensing your hands wherever they're resting on right now in your body. Sensing your feet wherever they're resting on right now. Now, how does it feel to come back to the simplicity of presence? Maybe already you're starting to feel more space, some sense of relief maybe, thanks to this kind of slowing down. Maybe it's a little bit scary. Maybe suddenly you're feeling like you want to fidget and you want to move a little bit because it's not so comfortable suddenly to be so still. So taking a moment just to check in with yourself and to welcome you as you are right now, with the quiet and the presence, with the agitation and the angst, with the hope and the fear. Kol shayach, whatever is here belongs. And how does it feel if you say to yourself, everything belongs? I don't need to change anything about who I am and how I am right now. Maybe it's more pleasant or less pleasant than I wish it was. But what if everything is welcome just as it is? And what if you were holding your own experience with the kind of unconditional patience and kindness? friends, we'll sit for a couple of minutes in silence, just arriving in our bodies. Welcoming ourselves. Holding space for ourselves. And also taking a moment to feel held by the group. Feel held by this collective energy that we're generating by sitting together at the same time in various parts of the world. How does it feel? When we feel we can really relax and rely not just on the chair we're sitting on, but also on the collective energy of the group, holding space for us. And that we're holding space for others by being here. So friends, I want to share with you a little teaching from the Me'oraim today, and then we'll do a meditation, which I call a tree meditation, because today is Rosh Chodesh Shvat, the new month of Shvat, in which we celebrate Tu B'Shvat, the new year of the trees, in the middle of the month. But before that, I want to connect to the energy of the parasha, to a beautiful teaching in the parasha. I'm going to share my screen with you, and hold on. Ine. Yeah. And don't worry, you will be sent also the source sheet, so you can also just close your eyes and listen to my voice. You don't have to be there with your mind. You can be here with your heart. The parasha is called Bo, which means come. And it starts with these words. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, Bo el Paro. God said to Moshe, come to Pharaoh. Which is kind of a weird phrasing, right? Because you would say, go, not come, but go. Coming is kind of calling someone from within and say, come to me. And go is like, go over there. So I want to share with you a little commentary from the Rav Menachem Nachum min Chernobyl, also called the Me'oraim, from the name of one of his famous books, The Light of the Eyes. And so he's picking up on it, and also the Zohar, one of the main works of Jewish mysticism, picks up on it. And says, why are we saying Bo el Pharaoh? Lech el Pharaoh. You should say, instead of come to Pharaoh, go to Pharaoh. And the Me'oraim, as he does sometimes, he really goes far, far, far from there. Directly to the kind of sod level of reading, the mystical level of reading of this. Something seemingly not related. He said, you know, the Torah, because starts with Bereshit, right? The first word of the Torah. It starts with the letter Bet. Why doesn't it start? Doesn't not start with Aleph, with the first letter of the alphabet? And he says it's because we wouldn't have been able to stand the great light of Aleph. Aleph is the cosmic Aleph, which is basically the divine, Elohim. When we say Elohim starts with the letter Aleph. It's God. and it's too much. And because it's too much, we can't, just like he said, just as we're unable to gaze at the sun directly, we need a veil, we need a shield. And so too, we couldn't stand the brightness of the Aleph, and so we need the shield, which is the Bet. And there he says, and this is why we say Zehu Boel Paro, Rotze lomar al yadei habet. So to him, the whole point of saying Boel Paro is because we're starting with Bet. We're starting not with this bright light, we're starting with this veil. And I'm going to stop sharing now. And I want to offer my interpretation on this reading, which is to say that this is the moment before Yetziat Mitzrayim. This is the moment before the actual collective encounter with the divine. And it's as if we had to go through that first. It's as if we had to go through an encounter with Paro, which is here our Bet, right? Our veil, in the way. In our way, really, it's standing in the way between us and the great light of the divine is this obstacle, Paro, right? And that somehow, maybe it was necessary because having direct, immediate access to the light would have been too much. And so somehow we needed that so that we could grow up through the challenge and learn to grow and mature and then be ready to meet the divine. And this is an idea actually that the Mira doesn't say here explicitly, but that he developed in his commentary of the previous parasha. The fact that obstacles, and this is a recurring Hasidic theme, that obstacles are here to help us grow. They're here to help us grow. And that's my invitation for us as we're starting this month. You know, we all have challenges in our life, right? Sometimes big challenges, sometimes smaller ones, sometimes really life, tragedies, chas v'shalom, God forbid. And sometimes more, daily challenges, but we all have faced and will face challenges because it's part of the human condition. And yet in Hasidic wisdom tells us that God is everywhere. And what if we saw these challenges, these obstacles, as teachers, as ways for us to grow, as our Bet, so that we can meet the Aleph, as our kind of shield actually to protect us from a greater light and giving us space to grow so that we can move forward and blossom. So that's my invitation as we're opening this month, the month of blossoming, the month of Shvat, the month of blossoming of the almond flowers, that we may see our obstacles not as something abnormal, not as something that shouldn't be there, not as something on the way, but as a teacher, something in a way here to help us grow. It's not always easy to see it this way, but when we do, suddenly things start to open. So may we see what we encounter as teachers, and may we grow and blossom. So friends, let's sit. I want to invite you to take your seat as a tree today. And if you need to, maybe to get up and to sit again with intention, right? Intentionally adjusting your posture, taking your time to sit with care. A tree needs to be really well rooted if it wants to be stable. And then when it's stable, it can grow and grow fruit if it has fruit. And so we start with the body, we start with our posture. Once you're settled and comfortable, just check in with yourself if the body is really free now of tensions, and you may want to roll your shoulders up and back if you feel still like something a little tense. You may swing a little left and right just to find your center again. A deep breath in. And with the next out breath again, releasing a little more of the weight of your body on the floor. The tree meditation, seeing our body as a tree right now. And with the next few out breaths, taking root in this moment, and settling in stillness. As if our brain had gone down in our legs and feet, and we're just feeling the sensation of the lower body sitting, maybe a little heavier, grounding a little deeper. And once the tree has roots, the trunk can grow taller and taller. And so from our stillness, feeling the spine lengthen effortlessly from the tailbone through the crown of the head. Feeling our back strong, sitting tall. Feeling the support of our spine, like a strong trunk. And from here we can feel safe enough that we can fully relax the belly, the chest. And relaxing the face, muscles. Choosing an anchor in our body. Either your breath moving where you can feel it more clearly in the nose or in the belly, or the sensation of pressure and touch of your body on the floor or your hands on your lap. Just directing gently our attention to these sensations, just so that we can stay grounded in the present. Stabilizing our attention instead of drifting away in thought. And thoughts will come and go. We don't have to fight them. Actually, it's good to just see them, to become aware of what's alive in us. So we take a moment to welcome what's coming up, and then to come back to our anchor, to come back to our root. And that's the whole practice. Can we bring full presence for the last few breaths? And let's take a beautiful breath in. Beautiful breath out. Come back at our own pace to our togetherness. I'm not going to be able to stay for the discussion, and I wish you a wonderful discussion with Rabbi Mark. I'm teaching at the hour right now. Yeah, I received a private message about a question about why God closed Pharaoh's heart, and I just want to say that I wrote this week's blog post on this, so it will be published soon. Here is the page where you have all my blog posts, so you can find it, what the Meronaim says about it, what I say about it. And I want to invite you to be ready to say Kaddish with Rabbi Mark, and I wish you a beautiful, beautiful reflection, discussion. Thank you for practicing with me.
As always, thank you so much, Rabbah Mira, for this beautiful practice today to lead us off for the month of Shvat. And understand, please go to your next teaching. But we're also grateful to you. Thank you so much. Friends, we seal the practice as we do each day, offering an opportunity for those of you who are in mourning or observing a yard site to, or if it's your practice to join in Kaddish, to do so. If you're not reciting Kaddish, just to stay present for those who are, creating a minyan of comfort and support. You can put the name or names of those you're honoring in the chat now. I'm going to include the name of my dear friend, Alan Gerson, of blessed memory, whose Hebrew yard site is today on Rosh Chodesh Shvat, and invite others who have yard sites or are mourning to put those names in now or after we recite Kaddish together. And thanks to Jet and or Kat for sharing the words of Kaddish on the screen. If you're reciting Kaddish, I invite you to join me by rising in body or in spirit to recite the words now and to unmute at this time. Yitkadal v'yitadash Yamad Yisrael Yamich Malkutei Tayechon V'chaye D'chol Beit Yisrael
V'Chayev Amen. Yishmei Rabbah Barach Lam
Barach
Yishtabach V'Yipar V'Chuman V'Naseh Hadar V'Damel V'Shlav Shmei D'Chol Leila Mikol Shirta Chata Amaran Be'am V'Imru Amen Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael Amen Oseh Shalom U'Rama V'Yaseh Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael Kol Yosef V'Imru Amen.
Amen.
And friends, of course, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to thank our teacher for today, Mira, Rabbah Mira Neshama Weil, for leading us so beautifully. Thank our sponsor, Mitchell Shames, for sponsoring our practice in honor of his dad, Harold Shames' 99th birthday. And of course, thanks to Kat Esposito and Jet Bachman, who are holding our space, as always, with grace and skill today. So thank you to all. And of course, especially thanks to each of you for showing up and being here and creating this beautiful community of practice. As Mira mentioned, I'm happy to stay on to respond to questions or just maybe facilitate the discussion or reflections in the chat. You're welcome to stay on to do so. If you're leaving us now, I hope you'll join us this any day or all the days this week. We have really a wonderful lineup of teachers tomorrow. Sarah Waxman about the Well, who always leads us on or near Rosh Chodesh, will lead us on a meditation on the theme for the month of Shvat, which began last night and today. And on Wednesday, Cantor Care with Spencer Shapiro of Wilshire Boulevard Temple will lead us in practice. Thursday, Rabbi Joshua Bodiger will be joining us, wonderful teacher. And of course, on Friday, we sit into Shabbat together with Rebecca Schisler. So we look forward to those opportunities to practice together. So I'm going to keep an eye on the chat and see if there are questions. If you do have a question that you'd like me to respond to, please preface it by writing question. And otherwise, and also, of course, it's always an option just to use this time to continue sitting with that prompt, the beautiful prompt that Mira offered for us to experience ourselves as an eitz, as a tree deeply rooted in the ground. Let's see. Not seeing any questions, which is fine. I'm sure that, let's see, is the chat going to everybody? There we go. So I just want to, I guess I'll paraphrase that teaching that Mira offered on the bet of, there's a lot of commentary on the fact that the Torah portion begins with Bo El Paro, come to Pharaoh, as opposed to Lech El Paro, and the Meori Naim's take on that particular Hasidic take is an interesting one about the bet serving as kind of as Mira said, like a veil or shield or a buffer between us and the Aleph, that the Aleph, the letter Aleph, represents the divine, the cosmic oneness, which as human beings we really we might yearn for and be attracted to, but can't really experience it in an unmediated way. It would be too much for us, be too overwhelming. In the same way, I guess, that when God speaks to Moses in the Torah, God says, no person can see me and live, but you can see my back. So it's another kind of expression of that kind of buffer or space between. But Mira was offering this insight, which is, as she said, recurring in Hasidic thought and Jewish mystical thought, that buffer or shield, which maybe we can think of as kind of a gentle buffer, also can include the obstacles, the things that, whether they're theological obstacles or painful experiences or challenges that we all have in our lives. Mira was describing on that continuum from minor to major challenges are, since God is in everything, according to Jewish mystical thought, God is in those challenges as well, and those challenges / obstacles / hindrances are part and parcel of the journey of how we connect with the Aleph. So the letter, the fact that the letter bet is kind of almost like the palm of the hand. It's this this almost kind of I don't know. I use the word buffer, almost like a cup that is shielding or sheltering us in some way. It's a shelter. Also makes me think of the cleft in the rock that Moses is instructed by God to stand in when God's goodness passes by, which leads us also to the other metaphor of the cracks or brokenness in life, so that we have this, this teaching in Jewish mysticism that the brokenness is actually part and parcel of our connection to the divine. it's a challenge, it can be both comforting and challenging theology at the same time. Yeah, Bo, thanks, Ricky. Thanks for the prompts. So the other thing, the Zohar goes into this, I believe. This Mira didn't focus, walk down this particular path, but the Bo El Paro is also understood as I understand it, as an invitation to come to the Pharaoh within ourselves. That is to kind of face our own shadow, our own inner darkness. Maybe it's related in a way to that idea of the bet as symbolic of the obstacles of life. But what the Meorinium in this particular instance doesn't really mention is this idea that if we were to say Lech El Paro, go to Pharaoh, that would be supportive of the idea that Pharaoh is external to us. But the come is a little bit linguistically of a little bit of a hint that don't think of Pharaoh just as an externality or as an external enemy or foe or representation of challenging aspects of life. Each of us carries Paro within ourselves. So the invitation there is, according to some interpretations, is to enter within ourselves, to go within and to meet and be with our own shadow as part of the process of liberation. I've always been very drawn to that. That's what I've got, Ricky. Anyone else is very welcome to share insights you have on Bo or on the bet. There are a number of different interpretations. Let's see. Yes, Barb, that's really nice. Bo come means, Barbara Rothstein offers interpretation that Bo means, has this inference of come with me, that God will be with them. I believe that also is in there as a traditional interpretation. Really nice comments and suggestions here. The wedding veil might represent a shield from the bright light of the marriage and new identity. Oh, this is very beautiful, Gail. Thank you. An upcoming family wedding, I was thinking that the wedding veil might represent a shield from the bright light of the marriage and new identity and God's presence and the new relationship and life stage. The idea of a veil, which is, part of the Deccan of the pre-wedding ritual traditionally, it always strikes me that there are many veils in Judaism. Even the sides of the Mishkan, the sanctuary that the Israelites are going to construct, as when we get to that part of the Torah in a few weeks. In fact, much, if not most, of the book of Exodus is taken up with the description of the building of the Mishkan, the sanctuary, the tabernacle. The walls are, in a sense, veils. They're permeable. They're not hard walls. They're curtains, basically, material that breathe. And so throughout Judaism, we have a lot of imagery about this veil that is there, both to kind of, I think, inspire curiosity about what's behind the veil and yearning for what's behind the veil, but also to represent the boundary between what's behind the veil and ourselves. And it's really, I think, for me, very beautiful to have that kind of imagery, and that's another really beautiful take on that. Liz says, a question that is not quite a question. Last time on Friday, we were contemplating, I think, the related issue of focus and overwhelm. Seems to me there were many things that connect here and many questions in the air. I think that's true, if I can remember last Friday. Oh, yes, thanks. So Tish is asking, I had heard that Lech Lecha was actually heard as go to yourselves or go into yourself. Bo is going into, yeah. So I think there, the lech is the going, but the lecha part is the part that's usually interpreted as to yourself. Why does it say lech lecha? Or later in the Torah, we're going to have shlach lecha, which has to do with the episode of sending the spies out to case the promised land. But it's the lecha part that brings up that interpretation of where are you going? You think you're going on a journey out there, but where you're really going on is an inward journey. But here it's the bo part, the come, that is evocative of that sense of look inward. And yeah, okay, thank you, Linda, for sharing this. And Yoga Cantor Julie Newman suggested we think of Pharaoh as resistance within us. She said when we identify resistance in our body, it is an assist from God to help us grow. That's a beautiful companion teaching to what Mira was offering today. Mira was describing it as, I think she used the word obstacle, that which, invokes some resistance from us that actually, if we notice and honor the resistance instead of pushing against it, we have the possibility of being able to see what's under the resistance and release it and let it go so that we can actually experience a deeper sense of connection. Yeah. So Carol, yeah. So the question, go within to look at the hindrances. Yes. The bo el paro, according to the Zohar, is like, come with me to the inner Pharaoh. And hindrances are, let's say, and I think I actually listened to, a friend sent me a beautiful recorded teaching from Alan Watts about feelings. The upshot of the teaching was that there's no feeling that is wrong. We can't control a feeling. All feelings are part of the divine economy. It's, of course, so no feeling is to be rejected, and all feelings are part of the divine economy. God is in all those feelings. Doesn't mean we should act on it. Doesn't mean we should act on anger or hatred or fear, but we need to honor it. We need to not push it away, not repress it, not deny it. And so, in a sense, I think hindrances might apply to that. That what we're doing is not that those hindrances that we may not find, we may not welcome, or we may not find becoming in ourselves. Like I shouldn't feel any hatred. I shouldn't feel any anger. I shouldn't, if I were a more evolved person or a wiser, more aware, more conscious person, I wouldn't have such feelings. So no, those feelings are real, and they are all part of the process of getting to something. So allowing ourselves to fully come, as it were, to those feelings and to acknowledge them without judgment and without acting on them actually leads us into a deeper place. I think that's part of the theory here. From Rabbi Daniel Silverstein too. People are picking up on a number of the kind of core themes that are running through all these different teachers, even though we're hearing them from different people. A lot of similarities, a lot of overlap. Oh, Nancy, this is very beautiful. Thank you. From where I sit, I can see only tall conifer trees, conifer, and sky through my window. I'm envious. During the meditation, I felt my roots intertwining with all the roots, the fungi, the whole underground community, all against the background of the infinite sky. Nancy, thank you for sharing that. I think vicariously and through your own energy, we can feel that. And I think I also want to just acknowledge Mira's beautiful invitation to feel the interconnections of this group, so that when one of us has an experience like that, we all can actually share in that experience. Okay, we are at time. As always, it's wonderful to be with you. Hope you'll join us tomorrow for practice with Sarah Waxman of At the Well, who always leads us, as I mentioned, on or near Rosh Chodesh. So we'll continue our exploration of the themes of Shabbat tomorrow with her. Thanks to Kat and to Jet for holding our space. Thanks to Mitchell for sponsoring our practice in honor of his dad Harold's birthday. And great to be with you all. Thank you for being here and creating this space. Many blessings to all. Be safe and well.